49er faithful, welcome back to another episode of the Gold Rush podcast, and it has been quite the hiatus for your boy, for yours truly. I do apologize. I haven't uploaded since the Tabor Pepper and Debo Samuel fight, and there's been so many things that happened since then. I think I'm gonna just do a little off-season recap probably after the draft. Maybe we'll do one before the draft and then one after. But I definitely plan to upload a little bit more. Clearly, as you can see, this is a new setup somewhat. I am still in the process of kind of making a new desk space. So before it was in the garage, I have recently moved it up to my room. So I'm still in works of like decorating it how I want and what do I want, how do I want to set my camera up and everything like that. So it's been a little bit difficult there. Obviously probably not 5 months worth, but take it as you will. I uploaded some shorts, so I hope you guys enjoyed that in the time being. But I am happy to be back. I'm happy to be recording. I'm happy to be sitting in front of the camera, and I'm happy to be talking to you guys again. This time it is draft season again. I didn't upload much during the season, so really, if you're coming here after seeing maybe my Ricky Pearsall video or my Dominic Pooney day 2 picks with Renardo Green as well, welcome back, and I appreciate you for tuning in to another episode here of the Gold Rush podcast. So let's dive right in. So today we've got our 7-round mock draft. The 49ers, 11 picks in this draft. With the roster getting older, they have, I believe, the oldest roster in the league per average age. This is a big draft for them. With the offseason they had, losing a bunch of guys and not signing anybody else, this draft is really what they are leaning on to get better next year. Because currently, as it stands, they are just worse all around than last season. Point blank period. At pretty much every level besides, I guess the quarterback, because that's Brock Purdy. But maybe the quarterback room in general actually is a little bit better, as you know that they bought in Mac Jones. They lost Josh Dobbs, though, who was kind of a fan favorite. But yes, pretty much they lost someone at dang near every level, which is very unfortunate. But I think in the draft here, there's a lot of guys that could serve as replacements. So let's dive right in. The 49ers picking in the first round, pick number 11. This is kind of an unfortunate spot, because there's so many very, very talented players that are going to go in that top 5, top 6. And then that pick, really 7 through like 15, it kind of feels like there's some guys in there that are going to feel like reaches. Some guys that are going to feel like they're getting picked a little bit higher, but you got to pick somebody. Over here at pick number 11, there's going to be a lot of guys on the board. The Niners have done a lot of homework on the D-line, and that is probably the weakest spot of the entire roster. So I do think that they go on that defensive line. This is a very deep edge rusher class, however. So I actually have them holding off on the edge rushers, and they also have Yetur Gross-Matos on the roster, who I think that Shanahan has a lot of faith in, and I think that Robert Saleh is going to be able to work with very easily. So I actually have them going defensive tackle out of Oregon. You know they love the Oregon defensive tackles, Derek Harmon. I think that Derek Harmon is a really, really good player. He's a very good pass rusher who can also play the run. He's got heavy hands. He works really good in the interior. We saw the Niners. They drafted DeForest Buckner. They drafted Eric Armstead, both buddies out of Oregon. So I think this could be kind of a fun callback there. 6'4", 313 pounds. He's a big boy, and I feel like he's going to work really well in making life for Nick Bosa a lot easier and life for the opposing offensive lines a lot harder. So I really like this pickup here with Derek Harmon. I know people like Walter Nolan as well. I think 11 is a bit high for Nolan. I think 11 is a bit high for Harmon as well. I think you could trade down just a couple spots, maybe into that 15 range if you want, if a team wants to come up, and you can stack up some draft picks doing that as well. But I think that if you pick Derek Harmon at 11, that's great. If you trade down and you just kind of play it by hand and see is Harmon going to be there or Walter Nolan, I'm not mad about that as well. Again, there was some edge rushers on the board here that I was considering. Mike Green was available. There was a couple guys, but I feel like that list of edge rushers at pick number 11 is a lot shorter than the defensive tackles in the rest of this class, but both positions are pretty stacked, and you'll see that I double dip too later on. Second second round, we got 43rd overall. I have the going Ariante Ezerai. I really feel like he's kind of a late first, early second type player, but he fell to 43 here, and I wasn't going to complain about it. The Niners desperately need offensive line help and just depth in general. I know that the team seems to really like Colton McKivitz, but I think you need to bring in some competition. You can't make him feel comfortable. Plus, you need to start thinking about the future without Trent Williams. Now, I think that SRI, he's going to be more of a right tackle. For the Niners, but he played a lot with Minnesota at left tackle, so I feel like, you can put him in at both sides there. I think of guys like Daniel Brunskill and even Spencer Burford and their value of playing all around the offensive line. Now, Ezra is 6'6", 331 pounds, so you're going to want to keep him at tackle. You don't really want to play him interior, but you got Burford to slide on the interior there. He's a big boy. He's a big boy at 9.43 relatively athletic score, I believe, is that RAS. And so he's an athlete. He's a dog. He fits the system in that run, in that zone scheme. And I feel like he's going to be very good if the Niners do pick him up. And in the second round, I think it's a great place for him. I really do feel like he's got a lot of potential if he gets the playing time that he needs. And if the Niners view him as the future left tackle and they kind of want to redshirt him his rookie season and learn under Trent, I think that's not a bad idea at all. He's got good size. He's got good strength. He's got good footwork. He's got good hands. I think that SRI is a really good pick. Even if they have to trade up a little bit for him, frankly, just throwing it out there. I like SRI in the second round especially. In the third round, I was a little stuck actually. A little bit unique with the edge rushers available. I really wanted to go edge here in the third, but I didn't really like the guys that were up there. So I actually went linebacker. Chris Paul Jr. at Ole Miss here. Dre Greenlaw's gone. D. Winters is probably the guy to step in, and I have him as a breakout candidate this year. The Niners do love running the three linebackers, though, and I think Chris Paul has that dog that the Niners love their linebackers to have. Ole Miss had a heck of a defense, and you'll see I come back around to Ole Miss later on in the draft. But yeah, they have a lot of really good defenders. I was joking around on Twitter. You could really go Ole Miss defenders throughout the whole draft and probably leave with a pretty good draft, even just offense and defense, and have a pretty good draft. Chris Paul, 6 foot, 222 pounds. He is quick. He's got good footwork. He's got that dog, like I said, and he's a good tackler. I feel like he would fit the Niners system, the Niners mentality, that dog mentality of corralling to the ball, all 11 gold helmets to the ball. I feel like Chris Paul would fit that perfectly well, and he's gonna, I think, playing off of Fred Warner as well, it just boosts those other guys. So I think Chris Paul in the third round would be a really solid pick here. And now pick number 100, I think I've picked this guy in dang near all of my mock drafts. I'm a big fan of Coby Bryant out of Kansas. Cornerback. The cornerback outside of Renardo Green is a little questionable. Of course, Diamador Lenore, he plays in the slot, and the Niners do occasionally bump him outside. But I think that true boundary cornerback is a bit of a question mark at this moment. They went and they picked up Trey Brown in free agency, who is a solid veteran guy, but you can't rely on him. Coby Bryant has came on to the Niners and met with them many times, so I do feel pretty good about the Niners picking him up. I was even considering him at 75, frankly. But yeah, Coby Bryant, he passes the name check. Shout out RP Kobe. And he's got good length. We saw what he did against Travis Hunter in Colorado. That's just a game that I think back on. I feel like he has that potential, and he can play really well outside there. And a cornerback core of Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore, and Coby Bryant with Trey Brown as a rotational veteran. I like that a lot. The Niners have really emphasized picking up those late round cornerbacks and getting a lot of value out of them. So even if they do hold off and they don't get Coby Bryant and they pick one up later, I think that'll be okay. But cornerback is definitely a position of need. We saw Diamador Lenore. He was a 5th round, 6th round pick, something like that. And they got that value out of him. Renardo Green, he was a 2nd, 3rd round pick last year. And so I think that Coby Bryant is going to be the next guy up. And I think that he will fit this team perfectly. I overall, I'm really happy with this draft. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 Niner mock drafts, and I think this one's ironically my favorite one. This is the first one that I'm recording. If you want to take a look at the rest, go check out the Instagram and the TikTok. I've got 1 on TikTok. I've got 2 or 3 on Instagram. So go check those out if you guys want to look at them. I try to always mix it up a little bit, but there's some guys that just overlap that I'm just in love with that I really want the Niners to draft, and Kobe Bryant is one of them. Kobe Bryant is one of them. Moving on, though, 13 picks later, the Niners at 113, they pick up, I got Jackson Slater, offensive guard out of Sacramento State. This guy, he's a dog. He's a dog. I think he fits the system really well. 6'3", 311 pounds. That left guard position is very questionable. I don't know what the Niners plan on doing there. I don't know if they want to do Ben Bartch. I actually have Ben Bartch as a breakout candidate as well. But I got them going Jackson Slater here just in case anything goes wrong there. You can never have too much O-linemen, frankly. Yeah, yes, only 5 of them play, but injuries happen, tired happen, guys play worse. And I also think that the center position is a question mark. No good centers in this draft as far as I know, but picking up Jackson Slater, hey, maybe Ben Bartch can play some center. I like Ben Bartch. I like Ben Bartch. But yes, out of Sacramento State, he is really good. He's a very solid player. He is a stout blocker. Not the fastest guy in the world, but he'll get him moving. He's gonna move a defensive tackle. He's gonna send him to the bus. He's a great athlete. He is strong. He's got everything that you really want in a guard. Of course, coming out of Sac State, a little bit of a smaller school, maybe raises some concerns to some people. Not to me though. I think if you can play football, you can play football. And he's got the size, the athleticism. He's got all the intangibles that I think that you want in an offensive guard. And I really hope that the Niners pick him up and they actually do use him. Last season we saw them. They got some guys that I really like, Drake Nugent being one of them, and I believe he didn't even make the roster if I remember correctly, or if he did, he barely got any playing time. So I hope that Slater is a guy that they draft and they have room for, that they want to use him, because I think that he has that potential there. So that is 5 picks that I really, really like. Chris Paul was a little bit maybe questionable. Maybe I pick him a little higher. I don't know. But overall, I'm happy with how this draft is going, and I am even more happy at pick number 138. Picking up CJ West, defensive tackle out of Indiana, double dipping on the interior D-line. It's very lackluster of depth on the roster currently, so you got to stack up with the younger talent. CJ West, 6'1", 316 pounds. He's a very stout defender. He is going to get the leverage up against the offensive linemen. He's got a great build there that he is going to clog holes. I mean, this boy, that ball is going to get snapped. He's going to get his hands on a man, and he is going to have gap control. He is not letting up anything in that A gap. Hey, you can even slide him into the B gap. I think he's got that type of build. He's got that type of stability. He is an anchor on the D-line, and he might not be, shedding blocks and getting to the quarterback as easily, but he is going to be that run stuffer that the Niners have desperately needed, it feels like, for a really long time. So yeah, CJ West, he's a guy that I know a lot of people have talked about, and he does have that factor in him that I think is really good, that the Niners are going to really, really enjoy. At 147, I ended up picking a prospect that I don't really know much about. I'm going to be honest. I got Q Robinson, edge out of Alabama. I had to go edge rusher here because I hadn't gone one the entire draft, but I really do feel like it's an important position. He was just the highly ranked one, and he went to Alabama, so I figured a big school bias. But just reading up a report on him, he's an athlete and versatile, which I think both of those adjectives really work for the 49ers. I haven't done much homework on him, so I'm going to keep it short with him, but it just sounds like he is a big athlete that's going to be kind of a boomer bust. So once I get into more film on him, I'll let you know if I'm in love with him or not. But as far as I know, I think that he could be an interesting pickup at 147. He was just the biggest positional need that I had to go to. So Q Robinson at 147. Then at 160, I got the 49ers going. You always got to draft a running back. You always have to draft a running back, especially with the trade of Jordan Mason. I really like this guy, Devin Neal out of Kansas. double dipping in Kansas there. I think, yeah, you got Dominic Pooney. I got them going Kobe Bryant. Now you're going Devin Neal. He's got that same type of build, I feel like, as Jordan Mason, where he's going to be able to break tackles. He's a little bit, you can put him between the tackles, but he might excel more outside. He's got the build where he's gonna bounce off guys, which is gonna be fun to watch. He does remind me of Jordan Mason a lot, and I do feel like this guy's got a lot of potential. I think wherever he goes, and if he does end up getting 5-6 snaps a game, maybe even less than that, he's going to show some special things. I think that he has those type of ability where he's got some of it in him, and I do believe that CMC and Guerrero will be the lead backs, of course. But I think if they do have to slide in Neal occasionally, if CMC's injury lingers any more than it already has, and the Niners need to rely on Neal to get some carries a game, I think he'll make the most out of it, and I think that he's going to show some fun stuff. And then at 227, I mentioned them earlier, Ole Miss coming back around here. I got them going Antwane Wells Jr. I feel like you need to go receiver, especially after losing Debo. And this guy's similar in the way of his yak ability. He's got the yards after catch. He can make guys miss. He maybe isn't the greatest separator, but he can definitely track those deep balls. He can extend the field a lot more. But I mean, just reading up on him, he sounds like he could totally fit the Shanahan system of versatility, yards after catch, making guys miss, and he's got the contested catch ability. So I think that Wells could be solid out of Ole Miss. Yes, I want to see Jacob Cowing, who's very similar as well in that smaller build. I want to see Ricky Pearsall, who also is a yak guy. But I think that there's also, you need the depth. You need as much depth as possible. The Niners did go out and they got Demarcus Robinson, but, I feel like just get as many talent guys as you can. And then at 249, this is a fun one here. I got them going Shiloh Sanders, safety out of Colorado. Of course, you guys know Shiloh Sanders. He is an athlete, and that's pretty much where this pick comes from. He's definitely more of an athlete that people give him credit for. The problem is his tackling. He's not the greatest tackler in the world. And you kind of want to see him get a little bit bigger. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. You want to see him get a little bit bigger at that NFL level, especially with how the Niners like to use their safeties, where they do have more size. If not that, then they're just built like a bullet. I'm thinking of Malik Mustafa, and I'm thinking of Jair Brown, he's a little bit more lengthy. Shiloh doesn't necessarily fit that, but he has the athletic ability to where you can pick him up, and the Niners have desperately needed a true free safety over the top for a very long time. And so hopefully Shiloh, if he can get it together, he can be that guy and compete the coverage over the top, which is, I think, what the Niners have needed. There is some injury concerns there, but I think that the son of Deion Sanders, I would take the risk here in the 6th or 7th round. I like his ability to play on balls, and again, it really comes down to athleticism, which is really the biggest upside to him. And then at the 49ers last pick at 252, I've got them going Benjamin Urosek. I hope I'm saying that right, tight end out of Georgia. Big Ben here. He's a 3-year starter out of Stanford, transferred to Georgia for his final season. Not necessarily as a playmaker, I think, but going to be more of a blocker guy. I think at this position, he was the best run-blocking tight end, which the Niners just love. I know that they went on ahead and they paid a blocking tight end who Shanahan has said is maybe the best blocker in the league, blocking tight end. But, Urosek, he has the potential with the ball in his hand to make some plays, to make some guys miss. But overall, I feel like he's just going to come in as a depth piece and kind of what Ross Dwelley was, where he'll come in, maybe he'll get a catch or two occasionally throughout the season. He's a solid route runner, and overall though, just a good depth guy. Again, I don't know much about him, so just reading up the reports on him, this is what I saw, and pretty much what I thought would fit with the Shanahan scheme. That's pretty much how I was assessing some of these guys that I haven't done much homework on. But yeah, Benjamin Urosek, I think he's going to be a good run blocker, and he'll fit the Shanahan system well, which is pretty much what Shanahan is going to be looking for here, if not Robert Saleh for the defense. And that's going to wrap up the first 7-round 49ers mock draft for the Gold Rush podcast here on the YouTube. I might do another one before the draft. We'll see, where just under a week away when you're watching this, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on throughout that time. I know there's rumors of the Niners trading up, calling into the top 6. I would be interested in a trade down. I think there's a lot of underrated talent in this draft class, so I think if you stack one of those draft picks this year and next year, that's not a bad idea whatsoever. Overall, the whole motto for this team in this offseason has felt like it's just been get younger, get better, and Niners have done one of those things, hopefully, which is getting younger, and that's by cutting a lot of the older veterans and trying to ace this draft. So it's going to be interesting to see what approach the Niners go about here, but I hope it's really defensive line heavy and offensive line heavy, working on those trenches, because those two have been big liabilities that have frankly just lost us games in the past. And so that'll wrap up this video, guys. I appreciate you for watching. If you made it this far, let me know what you think. What picks do you agree with? What picks do you disagree with? I love talking to y'all down there, and thank y'all so much for the support on my last a reel or YouTube short about the chill guy. Didn't know that was going to go so crazy, so I appreciate you if you're coming off of that. I hope you stick around a while and like the rest of what you see. So I'll see you on the next one. Let's go Niners. And make sure you check out the description below, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.